Hi students, it's Professor Melanie. I'm giving you feedback on your draft of Component 1 and 2. First thing, separate your Component 1 into its own PowerPoint or presentation and separate Component 2. Don't put them together. In my video that I did and we talked about in class, I want to see them separate because I want you to have Component 1 as if you were going to present it to someone and tell them all about what you're doing. I want Component 2 to be, here's everything that got us to what we did in Component 1. So separate the two so that you have, if you were going to present this to someone as a business idea, which you have right on your slide here, I want to be able to see only that. You don't need to tell them about the creativity that went into it, so that's why I want them separated. I left you comments on each slide, as you can see. The one thing I noted about your Smiling into Recovery is I wondered if you don't have to change anything, but I thought maybe considering and keeping that, resistance to premature closure, are they actually in recovery or are they smiling through recovery? So I don't know, maybe a word, there's a difference between into or through for someone who's actually going through recovery. So you make the choice. As we go in here, I put some comments again along the way. You can read through those. If you have any questions, you guys can reach out to me. Again, I put in, incorrect in-text citation. I know this is just a draft, but you want to make sure that, if you're using more than two authors, if it was just Carlson and Isaacson, you would put Carlson and Isaacson, 2021. But when it's more than two authors, you should have the first author et al. And then the year. So correct those. And then I left you a comment over here. You can just use these big bullets, leave your in-text citation at the bottom, and then you can speak all of these in your narration so that the person has to focus more on you and what you're saying than being able to read everything on your slide or everything that you're saying. I know you probably just put them on there for, reminder purposes, whatever, but you think about that. This one, I thought this was really cool, except for, how would I say this? If you were just in a boring medical seminar, you would have this title, right? Here's our clinical photos. So leave your in-text citation at the bottom. However, speak this part and give this a really creative header that catches the attention of what are we looking at. So I don't know if you remember, I put this over here in the comments again. There used to be a commercial with like an egg frying in like a pan, and then they would crack an egg and fry it in the pan and say, "This is your brain on drugs. Any question?" So think of something like that and maybe something catchy. Use this in your narration. Don't get rid of this information, but maybe just put something really catchy on here to grab the attention of what we're looking at. So just my thoughts. The perfect storm. I just told you to kind of drop these down to less words and you can speak this information. And then I put comments about that over here. So read through all my comments. And what I did was say, this reminds me of something like what you're trying to say in a more creative way. All of these things. And I thought, as I was thinking of your perfect storm and thinking of this, I'm like, wouldn't it be cool if you made this into like a tornado and it was picking up, poor oral hygiene in, the shape of a box, or rehab medications in the shape of a pill bottle, something like that, that kind of just pulls all of the things, creating the perfect storm. And then as I read through this one here, I'm actually asking you, what is making up the perfect storm? So is it rehab medications, poor oral hygiene habits, mental health in the ER, patients going to the ER? So make it clear what's making up your perfect storm. And again, you don't have to do this, but I just thought it would be cool if you could draw anything you want. It doesn't have to be so graphically perfect. If you want to try to give it a whirl with a drawing, go for it. Be creative, do something that's going to make this, your own. And then comments again. Again, this is all good information, but do you need all of this on your slide? Can you put something that just has a couple of bullets and you speak this information? And then this one, same thing, read through my bullets. And then I don't think you should make LECOM the big, I actually put a web link here for you. I want you to be able to see this because there's actually a dental clinic that is a mobile dental clinic out of Philadelphia. I was talking to a colleague and they mentioned it, and I was like, well, hot dog, I'm going to share that with my students. So look up theirs, look at their website, see what they have, see if you want to add anything to yours, see if you want to expand upon what they have, and use their ideas to make your ideas better. You might not have the same services, but you might say, oh, well, they have this and we don't, but we don't want that, so I'm just offering that it's out there. I don't know if you looked up any other mobile dental clinics, but look and see what others are doing and what's working and what's not. And also look at how they're advertising. There was a really cool, when you clicked on the page for this, it pops up with a pop-up that says, hey, there's a veterans clinic. So just, again, think of something like that. And then, you can read the rest of my comments. And then I took the information from the previous slide here, and I put it into this. Feel free to be creative. You can put a picture of your van. You can make one that has circles all around it. It's your choice, but this just kind of gives people a quick down and dirty visual to look at while you're talking about what's going on from this slide. So you can talk about this, but can you just put a visual in to make it a little bit, this says community partners, services, privacy, staff, etc. And then, again, there's one APA correction here for component number 1, and then that should be separate from component number 2. You should have 2 PowerPoints, a PowerPoint and a Powtoon, a PowerPoint and whatever. They should be separate, because I want it to be as if you were going to present component number 1 to someone, to get their opinion on it, to get their ideas, to share it at a conference, whatever it is. Component number 2 does not need to be in component number 1, because that's what you did to get there. So hopefully that helps. If anyone has any questions, please let me know. I have some comments, of course, on these. I understand that you're just putting together thoughts and you're going to make this better. But again, just try not to use all capital letters as your font. Try not to put large bullet points and paragraphs. The only thing I added to this slide, this is great, it was to the point. Don't forget to explain if you're going to use these in your actual component number 1, you're going to want to add them to it, because I didn't see them as your services offered in mobile unit number 1. So for this slide, you could, explain what's going on here. You could explain that this is the name of your unit. I don't know if this is one you found or if this is going to be the name of your unit. And if it is, then also just, maybe include that in your component number 1. We're creating the Da Vinci Dental Unit, or whatever you're going to call it. I love the fact that you have freebies that you would be giving out or things like that. Your references, I gave you things to correct. Your textbook reference, I have corrected on several things. It's an edited chapter in an edited book. So you're going to want to correct that, because I think your textbook should be easily formatted in APA formatting. And YouTube, this is incorrect for citing YouTube. There is a guide, if you go on the Ooh, What's in Here link, that talks about APA formatting, that gives you all of this information. So just to correct your YouTube video. And this is great. Your textbook's formatted incorrectly, so just correct it, keep it here. These can be more bullets and less paragraph on the form. I know you're going to fix all of this. I'm just giving you feedback to just be thorough. Same thing here. I gave you comments on the sides. And then this one, if you're going to have this in here, which is great, just be sure that you explain what this is. What does it mean? Why do you have it in here? Why is it important? If you can't explain this and what it means to someone, then you don't want to have it as a graphic, right? If I have something that I cannot explain to someone else, then I shouldn't have as a graphic. You can just talk about what's important in this model. And this is your 4th theory, so that's great. You have 4 theories. You have some concepts in here, and some creativity in groups. Again, incorrect textbook, incorrect text. So make sure you go through and change those things. Your brainstorm, make sure that you label everything like Makerspace 1, Makerspace 2, Makerspace 3, Makerspace 4, etc. That way, it's easy to see what each component is from your 4 makerspaces. And don't forget to add the fourth one in, which is your draft and working on your draft together. No, Makerspace 4 was not that. It was adding something that you didn't share with your group. And you can just put it in bullet format. You can do however you want to for your fourth Makerspace, so don't forget that one. And then your references, you want to write out American Nurses Association with the ANA. You're missing a comma here. Look to see when things should be capitalized and when they shouldn't. I put highlights over the words that should not be capitalized and the ones that should. And then this one was good. This one you want to add the and sign, and then look up when to use capital letters in the article title and what should be italicized, which is your journal name and volume. And then again, your textbook. At this point, you guys should be able to cite your textbook appropriately. A full point or maybe 2 will be lost if it's not correctly cited and used in in-text citations, because I want you to get this right, because an edited book is really important, because this person, Plucker, did not write every chapter in that book. And if you and I wrote a chapter in a book and submitted it to an editor and they took all the credit for it, we would not be happy because we did all the work. So please correct that too. But overall, you guys did amazing. I'm really looking forward to seeing your final products. Again, we're going to separate component 1 and 2. You could even make component, I don't know your timing on this. You have your draft almost done, but you could make component 2 into a Powtoon. Component 1 could be a presentation with a PowerPoint, so you don't have to use the same format if you want to switch one up. I'm not saying you have to switch them up. I'm just saying if you want to do something creative and different, then please feel free. That's what this course is for, and you're going to have 2 more weeks, and really week 6, the whole week, to work on what you're doing. So up to you. I will say that if you use Canva, Canva will allow you guys to share your email address, and you can both work on editing the Canva online. So you don't have to use Canva. Again, I'm just giving you all kinds of ideas. So I know this is a little bit longer, but I wanted to give you some feedback. You're doing well. I don't know if you have any questions on something. You're going to have to reach out to me, and someone can contact me and ask. I know that there was a paragraph submitted with this draft that said you were unclear on a couple of things. I would just say go back and watch the video from class that we talked about, and then if we need to have another meetup before you submit this, then please somebody reach out to me, because I don't know if you don't contact me. But amazing work, and I look forward to seeing the end of it. So keep going, you got this.